All right, hello everybody. We're sitting here on the Hessler at the Hessler Street on the porch, and I have with me Dave Macko from the Libertarian Party. How you doing this afternoon, Dave?
Fine, Stella. Thank you for inviting me. I am the 14th District Representative of the Libertarian Party of Ohio Central Committee, and it's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to invite all of you to attend our next meeting, which is at the first Wednesday of each month at 7 p.m. at Denny's Restaurant on West 150th, just south of I-71. If you want to get in touch with me personally, my email address is dmacko@roadrunner.com. That's spelled out, ROADRUNNER.com. Also, I was the 14th District candidate for Congress last year. I enjoyed that, too.
That was awesome to see you up there as a Libertarian candidate for that position.
I certainly enjoyed it, especially at the City Club. Actually, that's on YouTube now. If anyone wants to type it in, the City Club Macko, you can see me on
I heard you
TV.
gave them some hell.
Well, I gave them the truth. I told them that if we continue what we're doing, we're going to have World War III, we're going to have a depression, and we're going to have a police state. And I told them the way to avoid that is to vote Libertarian so that we return to the constitutional principles of liberty, prosperity, peace, and justice.
So how does the Libertarian Party compare to the other parties? What are some of the things that you would get rid of?
Oh, my goodness, we don't have enough time for that. The income tax, the Federal Reserve System, all of our military bases abroad. We should bring all of our troops home now from all over the world. We should stop all foreign aid. First of all, the Constitution doesn't allow foreign aid. Second of all, it's meddling. Sometimes we give money to both sides, so both sides hate us. And third of all, we're broke, worse than broke, $11 trillion in debt. Eventually, and some libertarians are a little more restrained about this, we should get rid of government schools so that we can have free people. Basically, we should get rid of all laws except those which protect the lives, liberty, and property of the people. Let's take marijuana, for instance. We have the normal booth next door here. It's not a question of using marijuana or any other drug. It's a question of, the question is this: does your body belong to you or does it belong to the state? That's the important question. What else I'd get rid of? Oh, my goodness. Well, the UN, of course. The UN was founded by communists. It's a communist organization. Thank you very much. It performs communist purposes. And again, the Constitution does not allow us to be in all of these entangling alliances. The Founding Fathers warned against entangling alliances, and we've been in them for 60 years, and it's meant nothing but death and higher taxes and more spending and less liberty.
Now, there's a lot of people out there that are looking for this sort of organization to join. When a person, say, comes to a meeting, what sort of things would you tell them to entice them to join, maybe?
Just exactly what I'm telling you now. You know, if you want to live free, if you want to run your own life, the Libertarian Party is the only choice for you. The Democrats tell you what to do. The Republicans tell you what to do, or as I call them, the communist and the fascist parties.
Now, everything you do kind of is at a grassroots level.
Yes, although we have run candidates for president since 1972. Our first presidential candidate, John Hosper's, got an electoral vote. Most of the time we've been on the ballot at least in 45 or 46 states. 3 times we were on the ballot in all 50 states. One of the chief problems we face is that the two-party duopoly has rigged the election laws in such a way that it's very difficult for an alternate party to get on the ballot. The Republican Party probably couldn't qualify coping with today's election laws. Of course, that might not be a totally bad thing. Also, the I think our greatest enemy, even more so than the government, is the establishment media, which has lied to us about almost everything since 1913. We need to go to alternate media, radio stations like WRUW, sites like Alex Jones, Infowars.com, and PrisonPlanet.com.
One of my favorites.
Yes, one of everyone's favorites. First time I listened to Alex Jones, for about the first 10 minutes, I asked myself, why is he screaming? And after that, I asked myself, why aren't the rest of us screaming? Everybody should be screaming at what's happening. There's so many lies. The 9/11 fraud, and it's obvious 9/11 was an inside job. The biggest 9/11 conspiracy theory is that there's this 6-foot-tall Arab guy in a cave in Afghanistan who needs kidney dialysis 3 times a week, and he was able to get 19 Arabs to hijack 4 planes and fly around the northeast United States for an hour and a half and crash into buildings. And according to this wacky theory, not only Bush and Cheney didn't do it, they didn't even know it was going on. So we have to cope with all of these lies. But the truth will set us free.
I know they also had said that Osama bin Laden was pulling his lung machine along with him in the desert through the caves.
Yeah,
right.
When you discuss Osama bin Laden's organization, the proper pronunciation should be Al-Qaeda. He was a CIA agent. If he's still alive, who knows? He could still be one. And 9/11 was used for all of the police state measures which are enslaving us now. You wouldn't have the Patriot Act without 9/11. I'm sure you're familiar with PNAC, the Project for a New American Century. Mostly these Zionist, neocon enemies of liberty, who most of them got into the Bush regime afterwards. And they said that what the nicest thing they could have would be a new Pearl Harbor. And look what happens 9 months later, a new Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Of course, the old Pearl Harbor was rigged by Roosevelt too. That's another lie. We've been lied to almost 100 years.
Now, if a person shows up to your meeting, what kind of stuff would they do? What would you teach them? What kind of activities go on?
Well, we'd give them the same information I'm giving you and your listeners right now, only a more detailed measure. Beside the Libertarian Party meetings on the first Wednesday of each month at Denny's Restaurant at West 150th, just south of I-71, we have an educational meeting of the Northeast Ohio Libertarian Forum, which is usually the second Wednesday of the month at the Denny's Restaurant at 8111 Day Drive in Parma. And I hope maybe having to build them for my ads for them, but we do meet there. Last time we showed the Obama deception and Alex Jones film. Next month we're going to be showing Endgame. And again, if anyone is not on my email list, that's dmacko@roadrunner.com.
I have not yet to see the Obama deception.
Well, it shows basically there is no difference between the two establishment parties. Obama is carrying out the same program as Bush did, only worse. Obama lied to the American people that he was going to get out of Iraq. He didn't lie to the American people about Afghanistan. He said he was going to stick his nose in there more, and he's doing that. But basically the policy is the same. We need, as I said, we need to return to the principles of the Founding Fathers: peace, commerce, honest friendship with all nations, entangling alliances with none. And as Mike well brought up, we need to get out of the United Nations, out of NATO, out of all of the tentacles of the world government. We need to reestablish our national sovereignty.
Sounds awesome.
Yes, it worked very well from 1789 to 1913. We were much freer. We were much more prosperous. The enemy sometimes accuses us of isolationism, but it would have been far easier for us to travel in Iraq or Iran or Afghanistan in 1913 than it is today. There's so many places in the world we're not allowed to travel, just because there are so many wars going on, and we've meddled in the affairs of the world so much that almost everyone hates us. And if I thought the American people were in control of the American government, I'd probably feel the same way as they do.
Do you think the youth of today is more or less onto the schemes of things that are going on now?
Overall, I can't tell, but there is a very good sign, which was Ron Paul's campaign and the large number of young people who did wake up and are being active. Some of them are joining the Libertarian Party. Some of them are joining the Constitution Party. Some of them still think they can fixed the Republican Party, God bless them, and that we do have a home for them if they realize that that's not possible. So some the more intelligent young people are waking up because they realize they're going to be enslaved and robbed and registered and controlled by the government for a lot longer than you are, and much, much longer than I am. So there's hope for the young people, although the best thing to do would be to abolish the government school system. Did you know that the first country in Europe which established government schools was Prussia, because they wanted good, obedient soldiers since they'd been defeated by Napoleon? So what does that tell you about the government schools?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, history shows what has happened with government schools.
Well, that's why you see, the government's some conservatives say the government schools have failed. That's not true. The government schools have done the job for which they were intended. The slaves aren't taught to read and write, so they cannot communicate. Okay? The slaves are not taught history, so they don't realize they're the descendants of free people. And the slaves aren't taught mathematics, so they don't fully realize how the the state government, the city government, the county government are robbing us blind. These bailouts, these huge robberies. When I was running for Congress, I said that somewhere in hell, John Dillinger and Al Capone must be waiting for Henry Paulson and these thieves to come down so they can compare notes.
Absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are set up today. Have you had a lot of folks stopping by the booth?
Not as many as I'd like. The weather hasn't been up to par, as you know. I've tried to keep most of my literature dry, so there's still a lot out there. So I'm going to stick it out till 8 o'clock tonight, and I'll be back tomorrow. So if anyone wants to come by our booth, I invite anyone at all. We have applications for membership, so you can sign up.
Did you bring your little quiz along this time?
I forgot the quiz this morning. If I have energy left tonight when I get home, I'm going to try to find those. They're somewhere back in a corner somewhere in the family room, I think. But I'll try to find the quiz. I know I forgot the quiz. I'm sorry. But the quiz is fun. It's very predictive.
So you can find out where you guys all fall by taking the quiz.
Yes.
And you were on a little here. I don't know what that street is, but off of
Hessler Court.
Okay,
Hessler
right
Court,
off of
yeah.
Hessler Street on Hessler Court is where all the social service sort of organizations are, along with you guys.
Well, there's Veterans for Peace, of which I'm a member. I think NOAC is there. I haven't roamed around too much yet, but a lot of good people. There's even some communists there, but they're not the really bad communists. If they were the really bad communists, they'd be in Washington working for Obama. So I think that's that's as good a plug as I can give them and still be straight and honest here.